Huntington Beach. He's already done an interview about his experience, so he doesn't mind coming down and speaking about what happened. You know, we come out here every night and we say Rosanne's name every night, and he has an experience about that. So, Kim, why don't you come and tell our people what happened? And I did warn.
Okay, Rosanne Boyland. I was there not too far away from where she was at. I remember that the air was thick, you couldn't really breathe or think clearly. It was packed like sardines. And I remember this one instance, specific moment where the police did a coordinated chemical attack and a charge. And so people started to get scrunched and pushed together, and Rosanne Boyland fell down. And then people tripped on her, and they fell down on top of her. And then they fell on top of each other more and more until there was a pile of people on top of poor Rosanne Boyland, and she was underneath getting smothered. And I heard her friend crying out for her, and I realized what was going on, and I was closer to the police line, and I was trying to reason with them and plead for her life. And I asked them to stop pushing so she could get out.
Nothing of it.
Sorry,
You got this.
That's right. Take your time.
And so I begged her for like 2 minutes, and I just said, please, I don't want her to die. Please, you can save her. I don't want her to die. I was yelling it and begging, and I threw all my dignity out the window and just begged, like crying like a baby, for them to stop, because I didn't want to see her die. And I said, you're killing her. And I remember this one officer said, no, you. And I said, no, you're going to kill her. She's going to die. Please, stop pushing. Let the people get off. Let the people get off her. I don't want her to die. And for like 2 minutes, I begged this. And afterward, when there were the alleged sedition hunters in collusion with probably most likely the deep state and the feds, and they're naming names or giving people all these nicknames like they do for, you know, a bank robber. And so my nickname was Bad Samaritan Gray, because I was wearing a gray hoodie and I was trying to be a good Samaritan. So they twisted, and they said I was a bad Samaritan. I did the best I could. So yeah, Rosanne Boyland was crushed underneath you know, must have been over 1,000 pounds of pressure. I couldn't imagine what her last moments were like. I can actually imagine it, because I felt like I was being crushed just standing up. You know, there were points when I felt like I passed out on my feet, but I was held up by the crowd that was crunched together, and then I would come to. You know, I thought I was going to die a few times. And whatever air you could get was just filled with chemical agent, tear gas, and it was hard enough to breathe as it was, without being crushed underneath a bunch of people that have been pushed on top of you and aren't being allowed to get up. And then the crowd is so thick that even people are leaning on the mound to keep themselves from falling down and being, you know, fallen upon and crushed as well. So that put more pressure on Rosanne. And I remember, as it was after 2 minutes of me begging, and it was almost over, I remember turning my back to look, see what was going on, and that's when one of the officers that was on the line, who had been face to face with, talking and imploring them to stop, he came down on my head with a metal baton, and the blood came down my face. And I'm quoted in the newspaper as saying, you really hit me, you really hurt me bad. I'm bleeding now, or something to that effect. But context is everything. It doesn't say that I was trying to save a woman's life, or that he waited till I turned my back to like make his move and strike me in the head with a metal baton from behind. So context is everything.
Yeah.
And the context was that I was trying to save a woman's life who was being killed, and by unrelenting pressure, and I still am torn up about it today, but I don't want to forget what happened to Rosanne Boyland, because there but for the grace of God go I or any one of you Americans that were just out trying to practice your constitutional right to freedom of speech and your right to protest and oppose and verbally oppose bullshit, because there's nothing wrong with that. There's something wrong with not saying something.
Amen.
And so I don't think I did anything wrong, and I don't think Rosanne Boyland deserved to be smeared. She definitely deserved to be killed. And I consider myself lucky. And yeah, so that's all I can think of right now. But yeah, I try to tell people afterward about what happened. I told people that night, I said, I think they killed a woman where I was at. And I already knew about Ashley Babbitt as we were leaving the Capitol, but also where I was at. And I would reach out to people that I knew that had media, and but nobody wanted to touch it, because there was like this cloud of fear that came down upon everybody that nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody knew what to do or what to say or what to think about it, and everyone was scared. And so I couldn't get anybody. For 10 months, I sat on it, knowing what I know. And I think it was maybe Kara Castronova from the Gateway Pundit. I think she was one who kind of broke majorly the story of Rosanne Boyland. And it's good. It's good that it finally came out. I think the Deep State and whatever, they've gone after the Gateway Pundit because they were exposing the truth. Yeah, so that's that. I mean, but there's nothing wrong with repeating what happened and telling and let it be known that that bad things happen that aren't getting out and people aren't knowing about. So that's all.
Thank you, Kim.
That's right.
You gotta turn it off.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you, Kim.
That's right.
Of course, it also didn't help that after she was already down and out, Officer Morris kept beating her with a overhand strike to her body
That's right.
and
To her head.
to her head, and then they wouldn't let American citizens render her aid. So there's all that.
And they couldn't operate the.
And they couldn't operate the paddles.
Yeah, I do remember, and I just saw this recently because every once in a while it pops up. But when they started to clear the crowd and I was staggering away, I did fall down. And I mean, the left on their Twitter back then were saying things like, I fell on top of her. And they're trying to drum up. I didn't go near her. I was like maybe 5 to 8 feet away from her, but they're such liars, and they twist everything. And yeah, I mean, it was hard to breathe, it was hard to think, it was hard to stagger away, but that's what it was today, or that day. And yeah, I don't know, I'm tongue-tied now, but that hurt, that bothered me, that they tried to blame it on me even, because they are so full of lies. So, thank you.
Amen.